It's a good AGam in Kansas morning. Good morning. Let's take a look and see what's coming up today. First, we have an update from the second annual cattle drive in Buhler, Kansas. Next, John Doggett and Kent Moore with the National Corn Growers Association discuss the Farm Bill. And Dr. Chris Blevins and Dr. Katie Delph talk about clinical signs of the Equine Herpes Virus. Then learn the difference between the Kansas Soybean Commission and the association. We'll end with words from a cattle producer who invests in and trusts technology. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
So we're here at Buhler, Kansas today for the second annual Kansas Cattle Drive. It was a beautiful day out today, and we had a lot of vendors. We doubled in size. We had about 70 vendors inside, and we had 31 pens of cattle from all over the state, showing off the seed stock producers. We actually had 5 states represented this year in this Kansas Cattle Drive, and had outstanding speakers like Kurt Pate and Justin Talley and a lot of people like that.
Howdy, I'm Kurt Pate, here in Buhler, Kansas at the Kansas Cattle Drive, and I had a great day. We had all kinds of different working systems. We had tubs, we had boxes, we had V's, we had the whole deal. And the crowd got to see lots of different styles of working cattle through different systems. It's real nice to see that people are starting to understand that it's not always the system that makes it work, but it's the stockmanship combined with the system. So if we can use good facilities, use good stockmanship, everybody wins.
This is the second year we've been here. The event not only allows us to bring cattle and advertise for different producers and have a lot of people see them all at one time, but it's also a great event to bring into the community. People from just in town can come out and see cattle and kind of get an idea of agriculture and where beef comes from and how we produce it and what goes into it.
This is our first year coming to the cattle drive here at Buhler, and I found out about it through an article online and was able to call in, and they still had some pen space, so we thought we would take advantage of it. I really like the laid-back family atmosphere about it. It's a good way to showcase your cattle and your program, not only to people looking at buying your genetics or your bulls or females, but also to the general public, for kids to see animals and that they can be calm and tame, and to get their minds working of where their food actually comes from and how hard we work to try and keep them healthy and to keep their meat and animals they eat healthy as well.
So I have a lot of people that want to pet them, but that's been the most entertaining, I guess, is to watch people try to touch them through the fences. A lot of people just are kind of in shock that you can bring cattle and put them on Main Street and not be going crazy or bucking or anything like that, and seeing that they're not all the ones that are chasing rodeo clowns and stuff like that, and have a better idea that way.
We've had some younger kids come up and just ask what the rings were for in their nose, just for a little different than what they're used to seeing, and maybe what the freeze brands were on the side and what we use them for. Just really great questions for the younger generation to ask, to begin to learn about the cattle industry, and also just to come by and see how the cattle are handled and how they're fed in order to get them to this stage where they are today.
Next year, we're lucky enough to already have Temple Grandin booked. We're also going to have Clint Rusk from Oklahoma State. We're going to do a roundtable talking about branding your ranch with social media and different things like that. So we're excited to have several well-known YouTube, Facebook, and bloggers that are going to be here for a roundtable discussion. Next year's Kansas Cattle Drive will be February 17th, 2018.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on AGam in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
My name is John Doggett. I'm the Executive Vice President of the National Corn Growers Association. I run the DC office for the corn growers. Was happy to be in Kansas and to be on the panel with two other gentlemen, one from wheat and one from sorghum, and talking about the next farm bill, what we're going to do to get ready to do another farm bill.
My name is Kent Moore, and I currently serve on the board of directors of the Kansas Corn Growers Association and also chair the Kansas Corn Commission. And my interest in being here at Commodity Classics today was to be a part of the preliminary discussions on what the next farm bill is going to look like.
And that probably is going to be a long process. But, you know, one of the things we're doing is working with one another, making sure that all of agriculture, to the extent possible, stays together and sticks together to get this farm bill done. Talked about moving forward with, you know, other partners, folks in the nutrition community, the food stamp community. The conservation groups are really vital to getting a farm bill done. So we talked about all of those things and the fact that agriculture has a great story to tell, but we need to tell it with a lot of other folks.
Had a good opportunity to hear from those that advocate on our behalf at the federal level in Washington, D.C. And
you know, one of the things I think that happens in agriculture is we always we talk as if everybody understands what we're saying, and you know, we use a lot of acronyms. The thing that the American public is interested, they want to know where their food comes from. They want to know what agriculture is about, but we need to give it to them in small bites that's understandable. We need to make sure that we connect with them where they live so that when we talk about the farm bill, they understand what we're talking about.
And I think they brought up a lot of good points about the need for all commodity groups to try to find common ground and present a united front to the nation as a whole about the importance of the Farm Bill and the food and nutrition programs that are a part of that. And it's definitely a challenging time, but I also think it's going to be an opportunity for agriculture to come together, I hope, and emphasize the role that agriculture plays in a food security aspects and a fuel security aspect. Also, I think it's important to emphasize the role trade plays to agriculture. I don't think there's any question that any ag producer wants to get that dollar out of the market and not out of the local FSA office.
You know, one of the most important things that farmers and ranchers can do is tell their story. How it affects their farm, how it affects their family, how it affects their community. You know, we oftentimes, you know, talk about the macro picture, and that's important. But really, if you want to connect with folks that are making decisions or helping other folks make decisions, you need to talk about your own personal story, because we have a powerful story to tell. We just need to tell it.
I do think it's important that people that are involved in agricultural policy in a state organization, whether it be corn growers or wheat growers or sorghum or soybeans or whatever the commodity group might be, we've got to talk to our neighbors and just make them aware of the vital role that their voice can have in shaping policy. And I think a lot of times people get discouraged about, well, I mean, my one voice or my one vote doesn't count, and I think once you become involved in the process, you become aware that your voice and your input and your vote does count. It counts a lot, and I think that time again when you're involved in a statewide organization that goes to Topeka or a national one that goes to Washington, D.C., those staffers and those policymakers and those elected representatives put a lot of credibility and value the input that they get from agriculture producers like myself and others.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source, together we grow.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. This segment brought to you by Sure Crop. Liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Hello and welcome to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins here at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. Today joined by Dr. Katie Delph. Welcome.
Nice to be here, thank you.
And Dr. Katie Delph is one of the assistant clinical professors here at the vet school and is boarded in internal medicine in the equine section. Mm-hmm. So I think one thing that you can help shed a lot of light on will be that of equine herpes virus. Could you just give us some information and why it's kind of a hot topic?
Yeah, so equine herpes virus, it can have different forms. So the most hot topic right now is the neurologic form of the disease, but it can also cause respiratory as well as abortion issues. And so commonly, or most recently, what we have going on are outbreaks. And so again, most recently they've been in California, Louisiana, and Kentucky. So there have been outbreaks occurring because of the highly contagious nature of this virus.
Now, when you say neurologic, I guess, what is that? Like, what makes it a neurologic problem? What does a horse show?
So the clinical signs that a horse can show if they are affected with the herpes virus causing neurologic signs are ataxia or incoordination of especially the hind limbs. They can be really weak in their hind limbs as well. And then other signs that we'll see may be like urine dribbling and inability to defecate appropriately. And in addition to those, sometimes they can actually show subtle respiratory signs or signs of infection, including having a fever, being depressed and appetent, and again, occasionally respiratory signs like nasal discharge.
Now, those are great information as far as what an owner would be potentially looking for. How would they know, like if they're at a show, like what to do next, I guess, kind of thing, if they're concerned with it, or what would be maybe the first signs that maybe they would need to get a veterinarian involved with diagnosis?
Yeah, so some of the first signs would be fever, and that can be a little bit tricky if you're not checking your horse's temperature, every 12 hours or 24 hours. But subtle clinical signs would be, your horse just isn't acting quite right, maybe has gone off a feed. That would indicate there is something going on. Again, more severe signs can happen pretty rapidly, where they are uncoordinated or sometimes unable to stand. So anytime that the horse is not acting correctly, I would say to have a veterinarian involved, especially if it is, at a horse show or something like that, where there could be bigger issues to handle as well.
Now, how would they be passing it from one horse to the other? What's the biggest thing that's like causing the virus to move from one horse to the next?
Yeah, so it is secreted in respiratory secretions, so it can be in the air, but you also have to remember that it can be contaminated on surfaces, so like water buckets, in stalls, as well as our own clothing, our own hands. So certain times we could actually potentially spread the disease if we're not aware that we're carrying it around on us as well.
You know, that's interesting. You know, the virus can live outside the host for a little bit of time, and remembering that people can kind of transport it is something to keep in mind too. Well, I think the other thing would be just, I guess, with that, knowing that information, when to get your veterinarian involved, if they have a fever, if you have any questions, to sure have that. And it's not necessarily that we don't have herpes virus that's not neurologic around in Kansas too. So those things are stuff to definitely keep in mind. So thank you for being on the show. If owners have any questions, they're always welcome to give us a call here at the vet school. And that number is 785-532-5700. They can sure give us a call at any point and talk to one of the specialists here at the vet school with any of those questions, whether at a show or just at their barn or any questions about their horse. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center, and we'll see you around.
Hey, I'm Clark Victory. I grew up right here on this little ranch near Chelsea, Oklahoma. Roped and ranched all my life, and a few years ago I had an injury that created what they call a frozen shoulder in layman's terms. It got to the point that I couldn't reach, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything. After speaking with the surgeon in Tulsa, he finally told me that he could make my shoulder better if he did surgery, but he absolutely couldn't fix it. I decided that, you know, maybe I better listen to my friend John, and I called Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. I talked to Patrick Farley and was just excited about the whole aspect of going up there and having the opportunity to focus on getting better. The next morning at 8:30, went into the clinic, did the stem cell replacement. By 12:30, my wife and I had lunch and was driving back to Chelsea. I feel better. We work around here. Some days we work pretty hard around here, and like any older guy does, I get pretty sore, pretty tired, but my right shoulder doesn't get sore. It's like a baby's arm.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program, 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
I'm Dwight Meyer. I live southwest of Hiawatha, Kansas. I've served on the Kansas Soybean Association board for the past 10 years. Today I came so I could explain to the producers here the differences between the commission and the association. The association is an advocate for soybean farmers, and for agriculture in general. And I was able to explain some of the different points as far as what we are trying to do to let our state legislators know that we want to continue Kansas as a livestock-friendly state. We also want to make sure that they're aware that we would like to continue sales tax exemptions, and we're also concerned about the areas of property taxes, and so I explained that to these farmers here. We also discussed that the more members we have, the more clout we have, and therefore we're always trying to get new members. We also explained some of the educational projects that we have, our Emerging Leaders Academy, and also how we select someone to be a DuPont Young Leader, which is actually a national program.
Well, it's always good to get together with other farmers, whether it's locally or on a national basis. And you get together and talk and be able to ask questions of our researchers and what they're doing with their checkoff dollars, because these people need to know where their dollars are being spent. Interact with them and find out what's going on in their area, because a lot of us, we have the same problems no matter where we are. And when we pick up on these ideas where they're having problems, that gives us a clue to what we should be funding this next time around when we go through our funding process. So we want to be effective with our checkoff dollars, and this is just one way we can find out more about it, is visit with the farmers when we're here and see what Extension's doing. And I think it's been real successful anyway as these schools have gone over the last 3 years.
Well, we try to get farmers to be members of the association, and we go around to different field days. We've gone to different fairs, farm shows, in order to explain to farmers what we actually do and what our association does. And so we have also used word of mouth, telephone calling, done other projects as far as trying to get some of these young leaders involved. And so in doing so, that's how we get the word out as to what the association is doing.
Yeah, well, you could go to kansassoybeans.org, and it has all the information there. It's got about the association. We have the same staff for both the association and the commission, but of course they keep their timesheets separate. But you can go on there and find these projects we are funding on there. It's pretty easy. I was just looking at it this morning before I came to the meeting, and you can click down there and see all the projects we are currently funding now. And the information's out there. A lot of people wonder, where's our checkoff dollars being spent? You can find it right there. This is just one example you can come to and see for yourself, but you can go to the website and get all that information. It's all there. You can skim down and find what you want. And if you got any suggestions or anything, just get a hold of one of us commissioners or call our office down there, because we want to be wise, make wise use of our checkoff dollars.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil, featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
GeneMax test scores go into a spreadsheet that Colorado rancher Braden Shaw relies on for picking replacement heifers. Though he admits his computer does most of the sorting.
I will refine it with one final visual test, but I will not keep something below what I want. If GeneMax tells me what it is, I'm invested far enough financially that I'm going to believe what GeneMax has to tell me.
After beginning a timed breeding program with 100 heifers 5 years ago, Shaw plans to AI more than 1,000 head this year, all in pursuit of rapid genetic improvement.
There's a heifer that has a lower percentage of milk. I can go capture that by pairing her up with a sire that will complement the milk. Or if there's something that has a little less tenderness, I can complement that with a sire. GeneMax is telling me the weaknesses of my cattle, and AI is telling me how I can complement or improve those weaknesses of my cattle.
Raising quality cattle isn't just a numbers game for this herd, where 60% of recent pen of steers qualified for the certified Angus beef brand.
My deal is I want to do a better job with what I have. Consumers need to know that I'm going to treat and feed and take care of my cattle as good or better than anyone else out there, and I will. And so consumers are that's why we're in this business. Consumers are everything to me, and I want to make sure we're doing a good job for them too.
I'm Bob Cervera.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.